Welcome to another episode of 90 from 90s. What album are you going to choose today, Stephen, from the 90s?
Okay, so it's one, well, in fact, never mind just the 90s, it's just one of my favourite albums of all time. And I think what makes it interesting is until this album came along, I didn't like this band, and it's Uptown Baby by U2.
I thought you were going to say Spice World.
Which is maybe for a later episode, but Uptown Baby, brilliant, absolutely brilliant album. First heard this when I was actually being driven through to Glasgow for a football game by a work colleague, and he had the cassette, and I was going, "Who's that?" And I went, "Oh, U2." I went, "That's really, really good." And I think you bought the CD. I don't think at that time I ever got around buying the CD, but I think I just used to borrow your one.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a brilliant album. Zoo Station, The Fly, Mysterious Ways, Even Better Than the Real Thing, One. So many great songs on it. And I also loved at that time about the band. It was obviously a complete sea change for them, musically, their image, everything, which was very brave and very influential at the time. So I loved that image they had. I loved the tours around that, Zoo TV and such like. I mean, that just changed the way bands did concerts, and I would have, I never made it along, but I would have loved to have got the Zoo TV or Zorupa shows. The big massive screens, the Trabant cars hanging from the top, incredible. In my top 5 concerts or tours, I wish I could have actually got along to see in person. So it's just I think it's got the band have a great sound on it, great songwriting, production, musicianship, image. I think it had it all. So not only one of the best albums in the 90s, but one of the greatest albums of all time for me.
I didn't really like them up until then either, and a great album.
I do like how in this I got this re-release double album I don't know, a couple of years back, and I do like that they've now scrolled over Adam Clayton's genitals, which were not covered in the original release. So there we are, censored now. Anyway, what's your choice?
So mine is an album that came out 4 years after that album. So Pulp Different Class, which came out in 95, and it's just, you had the album yourself, and that's why it's just a great album that captures an era in time and that sort of mid-90s Britpop. And obviously quite a few singles off it. You had Common People, Disco 2000, Something Changed, and like a lot of the album tracks were really good as well. And although I'd heard of Pulp just before that, they were kind of like more like a sort of alt indie or a cult band. They weren't really, whereas this album, because I think they've been going for quite a few years, whereas this album brought them to the mainstream. And it was just, I think as well what made me like Jarvis Cocker more was after the Michael Jackson thing at the Brit Awards, where Michael Jackson was acting like he was the Messiah, and of course people were just going, he just looked ridiculous. And of course Jarvis Cocker kind of put his name in history really when he did that, and from then on probably it became much more famous, and it opened the door to the band's music as well, which hadn't really been mainstream or commercial. So just it's like a soundtrack to your youth in many ways, like nights out, coming home from work on a Friday and watching TGI Friday, or TFI Friday rather, watching TFI Friday and then listening to Pulp, or maybe seeing them on that or seeing them on The Word. And it was like, it just captures all that time, but just great songs that still, to this day, still stand up.
Yeah, well, one of my favourite albums as well. And yeah, as you say, just very much signifies a moment in time for me in the mid-90s. But yeah, again, just great songs. ones that you will have heard, like Common People, Misshapes, Disco 2000, and some that you probably haven't, like I Spy, which is brilliant.
Brilliant, yeah.
So yeah, just great songs, great lyrics from Jarvis Cocker there, and yeah, just a great album to listen to whenever you put it on.
Okay, well, thanks for watching or listening if you're listening to this. We'll see you next time for more 90 from the 90s.